Hello there. Well, another Oscar season has come and went. And in this video, I'm going to do a breakdown and reaction. I will give you my opinion on the winners and my thoughts. We had the show, first of all, which still kinda sucks. But hey, you got to see John Cena naked and Ryan Gosling performing a passionate I'm Just Ken. I'm just Ken, anywhere else I'd be. So, a couple days ago, I made my Oscar predictions. I predicted 18 awards and I got 13 of them correct. So, I got 72% right according to calculations. So, I think that's pretty good. I did better than most people. Let's do a breakdown. Now, for who won the most awards at the show, Oppenheimer won 7. So it wasn't quite the sweep I think some were thinking it could be, but 7 out of 13 is still very, very good. And then you had Poor Things, which came out with 4, which I think is a little shocking. And then you had The Zone of Interest taking home 2. Killers of the Flower Moon went 0 for 10. Barbie got 8 nominations, only won 1. And Maestro with 7 nominations, only won none. I'm sorry, Bradley Cooper, I have nothing against you. Okay, for Best BFX, that went to Godzilla Minus One. Not only was it the first Godzilla film to get nominated for an Oscar, it also became the first Godzilla film to win an Oscar. Best film editing went to Oppenheimer's Jennifer Lame. I was right on that. Best costume design went to Poor Things. Right on that. Best makeup and hairstyling went to Poor Things. I went with Maestro on that. I thought Maestro was gonna win just with all the makeup they put on Bradley Cooper. My guess is maybe it was a little too much, and I know there was some controversy about him wearing a prosthetic nose. For Best Cinematography went to Oppenheimer. I was right on that. Best Production Design, I had that going to Barbie, but it actually went to Poor Things. Now, Poor Things is a period piece, and I think the Oscars traditionally like that, so I think that's kind of why it ended up taking it over Barbie. For Best Sound, that went to The Zone of Interest. I had that going to Oppenheimer, but I can totally see, based on what I've read, why they ultimately chose to go with The Zone of Interest. For Best Original Song was still tragically not I'm Just Ken. I mean, come on, did you see Ryan Gosling at the Oscars? It went to What Was I Made For by Billie Eilish, and who at only 22 years old has 2 Oscars. Dang girl. For Best Original Score went to Oppenheimer, Ludwig Göransson. For Best Animated Feature, and this is probably where there's going to be some controversy, The Boy in the Heron won over Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Now, I have not seen The Boy in the Heron. It's made by Studio Ghibli. There was definitely a narrative about Studio Ghibli founder and the director of the film and many of their other films possibly retiring. I'm not going to bother pronouncing his name because I know I will get it wrong. It seems like the Academy wanted to send him out on a high note. This is only the second time a traditionally animated film has won the Oscar. The other time was Spirited Away, also made by Studio Ghibli and directed by the same guy. Pretty ironic. For Best Adapted Screenplay, that went to American Fiction. I was right on that. Best Original Screenplay went to Anatomy of a Fall. I was correct on that, even though I kind of wanted the Holdovers to win. Now we're getting to the juicy stuff. Don't ask me why I'm like this. For Best Supporting Actress, no surprise, it went to Da'Vine Joy Randolph from The Holdovers. I didn't think this was that competitive a category. I thought this was going to be the easiest one to predict. And she was amazing in the film. No one's really upset that she won. I'm glad she won, and The Holdovers was one of my favorite movies from last year. Like I said, she was one of the many reasons why that movie was good, and I'm glad The Holdovers got recognition for what was so good about that film. Best Supporting Actor, we all want it. We knew it was coming, but it was still awesome to see it. Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer. Robert Downey Jr., people do forget, but in 1993, he was nominated for Chaplin for playing Charlie Chaplin, and he was kind of seen as like an up-and-coming actor. However, many personal problems hurt him, such as drug addiction. He got fired from Ally McBeal, which he was on. He ended up going to rehab, and then he started to do some work. In 2007, he did the comedy classic Tropic Thunder, and then 2008, he landed the role of Iron Man. Iron Man was not the popular character we think of him today as, but he made Iron Man his own. It's hard to think of anyone else but him as Iron Man because he was so good in it. He plays the role from 2008 to 2019. Everybody's upset to see him go, but we're excited to see what he does past then. He does Dolittle, which didn't exactly get off to the greatest start, but then he comes back with Oppenheimer, in my opinion, delivers a performance. I didn't feel like I was seeing Tony Stark in the film. I thought I was watching an actor play a historical figure amazingly. Oppenheimer had many good performances in that film, and we'll get to one of them. And I thought he was the best part about that movie, and I'm so happy to see him win an Oscar. The comeback is complete. Congrats, man. You earned it. I actually don't know Robert Downey Jr., but I kind of wish I did. For Best Actress, I had what we called the Battle of the Stones between Emma Stone and Lily Gladstone. Battle of the Stones! I know that joke is not as good as I think it is, but I'm gonna go with it. So, who was going to win? It ended up going to just a Stone instead of a Gladstone. I'll delete my channel. Emma Stone ended up triumphing over Lily Gladstone. Emma Stone, only 35 years old and already has 2 Oscars. And she's a really dang good actress. I'm not mad about it. Now, I think what definitely helped Emma Stone get over Lily Gladstone, I know there was some upset about it. Emma Stone is the main character in that film. Lily Gladstone, while she's amazing in Killers of the Flower Moon, there's an argument to be made that she probably was the number 3 character in that movie. And that's not saying anything bad about her. She was amazing. Her performances was really emotional. You felt the pain she was going through. But I can totally see why the Academy chose to go with Emma Stone over her. For Best Actor, now, I said I would have gone with Paul Giamatti because not sure if I'm the biggest fan of just giving the Oscar to famous dead people. Yeah, I was rooting for Robert Downey Jr. to win Oscar for playing, well, a famous dead person. I just think that's cheap. Cillian Murphy ended up triumphing over Paul Giamatti for his performance in Oppenheimer, and he really is amazing in that film. I'd seen him in stuff before, but I didn't really know much about him. I mean, this tells you all you need to know about him. I called him Cillian Murphy for a year, not Cillian. I thought he was really good in the film. I'm not mad he won. Again, like I said, I would have gone with Paul Giamatti, but I'm not gonna. Cillian Murphy deserved it. Whatever film he's in next, I'm gonna have my eye out on it. He's a good actor. Fun fact about another actor who I've made fun of his film, but he is a good actor. Bradley Cooper is officially 0 for 12 in the Oscars. And this even includes a few nominations for Best Picture. Like, did you know that he was a producer on Joker and Nightmare Alley, which if you're a producer on a film, you will get nominated for Best Picture. Like, George Clooney has a Best Picture win for Argo. I don't know how many people actually knew that. Hope he does get it one day, because as much as I didn't like Maestro, I totally wouldn't be mad to see him win an Oscar. For Best Director, it finally happened. Christopher Nolan can now refer to himself as Academy Award winner Christopher Nolan. And heck, I don't know about you, but I thought it was kind of cool that Steven Spielberg was the person who got to present the award. Steven Spielberg is my personal favorite director, and I would make an argument that he is the greatest director. Come on, if you were to build a Mount Rushmore of great directors, Steven Spielberg would totally be on it. But I would say Steven Spielberg was probably from, the late 70s to about the early 2000s, the top director in Hollywood. And I'm not saying the stuff that he makes now is bad, but it felt like this was him passing the torch from saying, hey, you're now the top guy in Hollywood, go do it. I'm so happy to see Christopher Nolan win an Oscar for what was my favorite film of the year. Like I said, I think he's an amazing director. He did a great job with this film. I could tell he wanted the Oscar badly for this film, and I'm happy for him. A fun fact about another director, Martin Scorsese, who is also, in my opinion, one of the greatest directors of all time and one of my favorites. Actually, guess how many Oscars Martin Scorsese has? 3, 2, 1, 1. He has 1 Oscar, and that was Best Director for The Departed, which I love The Departed, but I wouldn't say. But if you were to ask me, my favorite Scorsese movie is Goodfellas, and then number 2 would be The Wolf of Wall Street. I think it's insane that he only has 1 Oscar, considering how great of a director he is. And then, for Best Picture, the winner was Oppenheimer. I'm happy to see it win. This was actually the first movie. I'm actually happy to see this movie win. I got to see it. I was excited to see this movie when it was announced. I really enjoyed it. I would say this was my favorite movie of the year. I would say right now it's my second favorite film of the 2020 so far. Top Gun Maverick would be number 1. I really enjoyed this movie. I'm happy to see it won. I'm happy that Nolan finally got his Oscar. So, I'm glad it won. It's a great film with great performances, an emotional story, intense. I mean, this is a 3-hour-long movie where it's literally about people talking about science in Senate hearings. Like, this should be a boring movie, yet somehow he found a way to make guys talking about science, intense and interesting. Only he could have done it. And that's why I'm happy to say Oppenheimer got to win Best Picture. You know, the only thing that was kind of weird about it was Al Pacino presenting it. He looks like your Uncle Jerry, who had way too much to drink on Thanksgiving.
And I have to go to the envelope for that. And I will. Here it comes. And may I see Oppenheimer? Yes. Yes, Emma Thomas, Charles Grodin.
Seriously, what was that? That's the end of the video. That's just a breakdown and analysis of the Oscars. If you enjoyed it, thank you. If not, then go away. Okay, goodbye.